Welcome back. This is day 45 of our Slow English Challenge, and today we are going to talk about something that looks small but quietly controls the direction of your life: your attention. Have you noticed how easily your focus disappears these days? You open your phone to check one message, and before you realize it, half an hour has passed. You sit down to study with good intentions, but your mind begins to wander. You start working on something important, yet somehow you find yourself watching videos you never planned to watch. If this sounds familiar, it does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you lack discipline. It simply means you are living in a world designed to pull your attention in 1,000 different directions. There is always something competing for your mind: notifications, news, music, messages, endless scrolling. And little by little, your ability to focus becomes thinner, like water slowly leaking from a small crack. Many years ago, this kind of scattered attention helped humans survive. Our ancestors had to constantly scan their surroundings for danger. Being alert to many things at once kept them alive. But today, the same habit that once protected us is quietly hurting us. There are no wild animals in your room, only distractions that steal your time. Research shows that after just one interruption, it can take more than 20 minutes to fully return to deep focus. Think about that for a moment. Every time you check your phone, every time you switch tasks, your brain must reset itself. And if this happens again and again, your mind never reaches true concentration. But what if focus is not something you either have or do not have? What if it's a skill you can train? This is the story of a boy named Jake. The boy who couldn't focus. Jake was 16 years old when he began to feel that his life was slowly slipping out of his control. He was not unintelligent. In fact, he understood complex ideas in math and enjoyed programming. He had curiosity, imagination, and ambition. His dream was bold. He wanted to study at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, one of the most competitive universities in the world. But there was one problem: Jake could not concentrate. He would open his calculus book and within minutes start thinking about his future success. He would begin solving problems and suddenly feel the urge to check Instagram. He would pause a video lesson to look at a sports score. His body sat at the desk, but his mind traveled everywhere else. His grades were not terrible, but they were not strong either. He lived in the middle, never failing, but never excelling. His friends joked about his dream of MIT, and although he laughed with them, each joke felt heavy inside his chest. His parents saw his potential and encouraged him to try harder. Jake knew they were right. He believed he had ability, yet whenever it was time to study, his attention betrayed him. He spent hours imagining his future: graduation day, success, proving everyone wrong, but imagination alone did not move him forward. The textbooks remained closed, the assignments remained unfinished, the dream remained distant. One afternoon, after receiving another disappointing test result, Jake felt something different. Not anger, not sadness, just exhaustion from repeating the same pattern. Instead of escaping into another distraction, he decided to ask for help. The teacher and the two words. Jake went to see his math teacher, Mr. Tanaka, a calm and thoughtful man who rarely raised his voice. There was something about him, a quiet presence that made people naturally listen. Jake explained his struggle honestly. He wanted to improve, but his mind refused to stay in one place. The teacher asked a simple question. "How do you study?" Jake described his routine: many open tabs, his phone beside him, music playing, switching between tasks. The teacher nodded slowly and then wrote 2 words on a small piece of paper. Ichigo Zamai. It means doing one thing at a time with complete attention. When you study, you do not divide yourself. You give yourself fully to the task. Jake looked confused, so the teacher continued. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you study, become the study. And when your mind wanders, because it will, you gently bring it back. Not with frustration, not with guilt. Simply return. He explained that modern science calls this state flow or mindfulness, and that the brain can actually change when attention is trained regularly. The more you practice returning your focus, the stronger the brain regions responsible for concentration become. Jake left the room carrying more than a piece of paper. He carried a possibility. The practice. The next day, Jake made a small but powerful decision. He placed his phone in another room. He closed unnecessary tabs. He turned off notifications. He set a timer for 25 minutes and took 3 slow breaths before beginning. The first few minutes were uncomfortable. His mind felt restless, almost rebellious. It suggested checking messages, opening videos, doing anything except studying. But instead of fighting those thoughts, he simply noticed them and returned to his work. Again and again. During the second block of study time, the urge to escape became weaker. During the third block, something shifted. He entered a state of deep concentration where time seemed to move differently. When the timer ended, Jake was surprised by how much he had accomplished. Not because he worked longer, but because he worked without dividing his attention. He repeated this ritual every day. Gradually, his grades improved. Not dramatically at first, but steadily and consistently. He began applying the same principle to other areas of life: conversations, meals, even walking to school. He realized how often he had lived on autopilot. Presence changed everything. The result. Months later, Jake applied to MIT. Whether he would be accepted was uncertain, but one thing was clear. He had learned to control his attention instead of letting it control him. When the acceptance email finally arrived, the joy was real, but deeper than joy was gratitude. He understood that the true transformation had already happened long before that message appeared on his screen. He had mastered the most valuable skill of his life. Day 45. Your turn. Today is day 45 of our challenge, and perhaps this lesson is one of the most important so far. Your life is not built in big, dramatic moments. It is built in small periods of focused attention. Every time you allow distraction to divide you, you weaken your direction. Every time you return your mind to the present task, you strengthen your future. Attention is power. Not talent, not luck, and not even motivation. Power comes from the ability to stay with one thing long enough to do it well. Tonight, try something simple. Choose one task and give it your full attention for 25 minutes. When your mind wanders, gently guide it back. Do not judge yourself, just return. That small act repeated daily, can change